Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So my name's Katie and today is a very exciting video. I'm going to be doing my 2021 most anticipated releases. So hopefully this video is helpful for people as well to kind of get some ideas of books that are coming out in 2021 that you might want to put on your TBR or your own anticipated releases list. So I have in my little reading bullet journal, so this is my one for 2021, which I think is so pretty. I love the design. Upside down. No, wait. Okay, so yeah, so this is how I organise my upcoming releases. So I split it, turn American then, into boxes for each month, and then write down the releases that are coming out that month. So yeah, and it's helpful, and then you can add to it throughout the year. My later months looking a bit sparse, but I'm sure as more books kind of get announced, then I'll be adding more in. And also, yeah, there's some sequels which I don't have on this list, but I'm hoping they're gonna come out in 2021. So yeah, so let's just get started. So some of these are arcs which I've been lucky enough to get already, so that's also exciting, and I'm very excited for them to come out and for more people to read them. So starting off on the 21st of January, we have Winterkeep, which is the newest book in the Graceling series by Kristen Kishaw. And I'm so excited for this one to come out because I've been reading an arc and it is amazing. Seriously, I'm in awe of how good it is. I really like the Graceling books. I think I gave Graceling and Bitterbly 4 stars and then Fire 5 stars because I really love Fire. But Winterkeep is also definitely a 5-star book. It is so good. So we're it's slightly different from the rest of the series because the main villain is not so much of a focus, because in the other 3 they all have the same villain, whereas this one is a bit different, and it's so convoluted family politics and this big government conspiracy, and we sort of have some old characters who are travelling to this new country who are end up embroiled in this conspiracy, and then we also have characters that are in the country and they're new characters to us, but I love the characters. There's this telepathic fox who's so cute, and also the main character Lavisa, and she's been brought up in this very abusive family, and she you really see how that reflects on her and who she is as a person, and it's just such a good character study. But also the plot is amazing, things keep happening. So yeah, I would highly recommend putting this one on your anticipated releases because it's so good. And then we also have A Vow So Bold and Deadly, I think on the 26th of January, and this is by Bridget Kemmerer, and this is the 3rd book in the A Curse So Dark and Lonely series, and this is a fun slightly trashy YA series that I really enjoy, and I especially love the 2nd book. I know that a lot of people didn't, but I really did, and I really like Grey, who's this grumpy Captain of the Guard. So I'm really excited to see where the 3rd book goes. That's that one. I feel I don't know if I can talk about synopses, especially of books that are later in series. I mean, I just did a whole spiel for Winterkeep, but I don't really know what A Vow So Bold and Deadly is about, so yeah. And then lots of exciting books in February. So firstly, we have The Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers, and I was also lucky enough to read an arc of this one, and it's amazing. I love it. It's probably tied favourite in the series with The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. So this is the 4th book in the Wayfarer series, but you can definitely read them independently of each other. I would call them all companion books. They're set in the same universe, but they do follow different characters. Though there are a few character connections. So in The Galaxy and the Ground Within, one of the main characters we're following is Pei, who is the secret girlfriend of Ashby, who's one of the characters in The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. But yeah, The Galaxy and the Ground Within is just a beautiful exploration of what it's so hard to describe, being forced to take a break from the world, and how you interact with people who are different from you, and how you accept them and can be accepting of all communities. And just there's so many themes, there's quite a bit of theme about motherhood and with pain, the whole idea of taking a break from a really busy life, and almost a forced break. And I think it reflects quite well on 2020 and that whole situation, unexpected circumstances and circumstances out of your control affecting you. And Becky Chambers' writing is just this warm hug, so I'm just so excited for that one to be out, and the cover's stunning, so I'm really excited to have an actual physical copy. Yeah, then we also have Witch Shadow, which is the 4th book in the Witchland series. So the first one is called Truth Witch, and this is another it's I would say it's borderline YA adult fantasy series, because it's quite complex for YA fantasy, but I feel like anyone at any age could read it really. But yeah, it's so good, and I'm really excited for the third book. It has one of the best like female friendships ever, Safi and Isolde. Oh, I love them. Yeah, so I'm really excited for this fourth book. It's Isolde's book. I love her character. She's amazing. She's quite quiet and reserved, but she's also like this really kind of has this really strong like inner personality, I guess, and her magic's really cool. She's like this thread witch, so she can see the threads of other people, kind of like emotions, I guess, and things that like tie them to others. So yeah, it's a really great series. It's like so expansive. There's lots of like politics and kind of mysterious happenings, and yeah, so I'd highly recommend starting that series so you can be ready for the release of Witch Shadow. And Susan Durnard's a great author as well. Her like personality seems so nice. We also have Honey Girl, which comes out on the 23rd. And this one I think is a romance, and I think it's sapphic, and I think from what I understand it's like she's the main character, she's in Vegas and she gets accidentally married to this other character. So then I'm guessing it's kind of like a fake marriage, like fake dating type thing, or like forced marriage, and then they sort of fall in love, which I just love the sound of that. It sounds so good. I'm a sucker for like any sort of fake relationship trope. So yeah, I'm really excited, and the cover's stunning as well. It looks so pretty. So yeah, and then we also have A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas, which is the fourth book in the ACOTAR series. So I'm not ashamed to admit I am trashed. I really love the A Court of Mist and Fury. Well, yeah, that series, ACOTAR. Yeah, especially the later books. A recent favourite were like my OTP for so long, and that was kind of a series that I read like before I really discovered BookTube and the kind of bookish community. Like I pretty much exclusively read like Sarah J Maas and Cassandra Clare as a teenager. Oops. No, I did read some others actually, to be fair to myself. But yeah, that was definitely like one of my favourite series. And I can remember like in my first couple of years at university, like they were releasing, like I remember when ACOTAR came out and then I read it, and then I remember when Akamath came out. I can see myself in my like second year bedroom reading Akamath. But yeah, so I'm excited for that one. And although Nessa and Castian aren't like my favourite characters, I still think it's going to be good because it's like a mountainous setting, and I love mountainous settings. So yeah, very excited for that one. Okay, and then on the 23rd of February is A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth, and I actually read an arc of this one as well, and this one's so good, so I'd highly recommend it, especially if you like Sarah J Maas. So this one's it's like partly in Toronto and partly in Nevada, I think, in like the desert, and we're following these kind of characters. This is like Fae court, so the kind of Fae live like amongst humans, but they're kind of hidden. And there's these Ironborn Fae, or no, Ironborn are like half Fae, half human type magicians, and they are being murdered. So some of the main characters are kind of investigating that. So, and we also have this other character who's this like Fury, who's been exiled from like the realm of the gods, and she's now kind of in amongst the humans, and she's kind of being blamed for these murders. So yeah, it's really good. There's like all the main cast, I would say, are queer, and there's one like female relationship, and then there's one sort of budding male relationship. So yeah, and the female relationship's so cute. I love it. Yeah, so I'm really excited for more people to read that one, and excited for it to come out, so that's exciting. I'm good at saying the word exciting. Okay, then next we have Chain of Iron, which comes out on the 1st of March, and this is the second book in the Last Hour series by Cassandra Clare. So I am also trash for the Shadowhunter series, and I know there's like 10,000 Shadowhunter books at this point, but honestly I would read them. I love Chain of Gold. It feels so kind of, I don't know, like rich and kind of mysterious, and like the setting of Edwardian London is so cool, and I love all the characters. Like they're probably like my favourite cast of Shadowhunter characters. I don't know, I just love them all, and I'm really excited to see, especially Jessie. Oh, Jessie and Lucy, that kind of ghost romance. And I feel like this one is maybe Lucy's book a bit more, and also James and Cordelia had this like fake marriage going on, which, as we've already established, I'm a huge fan of the fake relationship trope. So yeah, I'm really excited for Chain of Iron. Okay, then after that we have Act Your Age Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, and this one comes out on the 9th of March. And I'm also really excited for this one. So this is a romance, and it is the third one in the like Brown sisters companion books. This one we're following Chloe Brown, then the second one we're following Danny Brown, and then this one following Eve Brown. And I'm so excited because like Eve was always my favourite like Brown sister, although at the moment I think it's Danny because I loved her in Taking Danny Brown. But like Eve just seems like so, I don't know, she's just so kind of away with the fairies, and I just love her, and I feel like this is going to be such a good book. And I've heard like nothing but glowing like early reviews, and so I'm really excited. And Talia Hibbert always like excels at the romance, and oh, so I'm very excited. And I read like a chapter sample at like the first chapter because it was at the end of my copy of Taking Danny Brown, so, and that was so good. So I'm really excited for that one. And then on the 30th of March we have Rule of Wolves, which is the second book in the King of Scars duology by Leigh Bardugo. And I actually really liked King of Scars. I liked finding out more about Zoya as a character. I love Zoya. I mean, powerful, intimidating women. Yeah, and also Nina. I actually really, a lot of people didn't like Nina's storyline in King of Scars, but I actually really did like the kind of, and I love her and Hannah. Is it Hannah or Hanny or something? So yeah, I'm actually really excited for that one. Because I do love Nikolai, but also I feel like this series has kind of become more about the others, and I'm not mad about that. Even though I do love Nikolai, but yeah, still. And also I love like god type characters, and you get quite a bit of that in that series. There are some pacing issues, admittedly, but still. And then also on the 30th we have She's Too Pretty to Burn, which I didn't know much about this, but then I heard it was like a sapphic picture of Dorian Gray type retelling, which just sounds so cool, and the cover's really cool, so I'm really excited for that one. That's all I really know about it, but it sounds really good, so yeah. And then we also have The Accidental Apprentice, which is Amanda Foody, who wrote the like King of Ace of Shades and King of Fools. I don't know if you can see, like I'm higher up now so you can't see the same books. She wrote those, which I really love that series. So and this is her like middle grade debut, and I think I heard her compare it to something, and I feel like maybe it's How to Train Your Dragon or something along those lines, which I love How to Train Your Dragon. So I'm really excited for that one, and the cover's really pretty. I'm hoping it's like available in the UK because sometimes, especially middle grades, it can be hard to get hold of if they're not like published in the UK. But yeah, I'm really excited for that one. And then also, I'm not quite sure when it's coming out. I think it might be March. The Unbroken, which is just sapphics and biceps, and it's also good. And Tammy said there's like a grumpy main character, which sounds really good. So I'm also really excited for that one. And it almost looks a bit desert fantasy. That I'm just making that assumption from the cover. But yeah, so I'm excited for that one also. And then in April we have These Feathered Flames, which is a, I feel like I've heard it compared to like maybe Frozen, I feel, and Russian. I think it's set in like a Russian type setting, and I really love the cover. It's so pretty, and I know it's sapphic as well, so this is another one of my like most anticipated. You might be sensing a theme here. Releases. It just sounds really good. Like I think it's a YA fantasy, and just YA fantasies always have kind of like hype surrounding them, and it's so exciting when they're coming out. I feel like I don't have a huge amount of adult fantasy on this list, but if you know of any more coming out, then please let me know. But I feel like adult fantasy tends to be more the kind of, I like find out about them once they're out and then read them, unless they're like super anticipated. We also have Malice, which I believe is a sapphic Sleeping Beauty retelling, where like Sleeping Beauty falls in love with the evil queen, which sounds so cool. So yeah, I'm really excited for that one as well. That's all I know about it, but like honestly that's enough to sell me. So then we have May. So there's also lots of exciting books coming out in May. So the first is One Last Stop by Casey McCusten, which I have an arc of. This is like one of my most treasured possessions. Yeah, so I'm so excited for more people to read that, because Casey McCusten just has this kind of, her books just fill you with so much joy when they're reading them. But also One Last Stop has a slightly more like melancholy tone almost than Red, White and Royal Blue, because Red, White and Royal Blue is just like pure fluff. But One Last Stop I think has a bit more depth to it, and the relationship is just chef's kiss, and so I'm really excited for more people to read that. Yeah. Okay, and then we also have The Ones We're Meant to Find by Joan coming out on the 4th. The main reason I'm excited for this one is because the cover is stunning, and I've heard it's like sci-fi maybe. I quite liked her first book, Descendant of the Crane, so this one just sounds really good. And then we also have The House of Always by Jen Leans, which is the 4th book in the Ruin of Kings series, which I love, and I'm so excited for book 4 because Jen Leans said on her Twitter that we would be getting some explicit sexual content, which I'm very excited for, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so that's really exciting, and I'm really interested to see where it goes given the ending of A Memory of Souls. Yeah, it's like one of my favourite fantasy series now. I don't think it's like my all-time favourite, but it's still really enjoyable, and I'm so excited for the 4th book. And the cover's so cool, it's like octopus, so that's exciting. And then we also have Not My Problem by Kiara Smith coming out on the 25th of May, which I'm also really excited for. So she's the author of the Falling in Love montage, which I really loved. Read it in 2020. And it's a great like rom-com. Yeah, and this one just sounds so cool. I think it sounds almost a bit similar to Sex Education, the like TV show. So I think it's going to be so entertaining, and her books always like hit hard as well. I've only read one of them, but like there was a really good exploration of like the main character in the Falling in Love montage. Mother has early onset dementia, so and it was really interesting to look at how that kind of affected her carer, and so the main character. So that was really interesting. So yeah, I have great faith that Not My Problem is going to be really good, and I'm really excited. So moving on to June, it's kind of a whistle stop because I have so many. Have to get through them. The first one we have The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. So this one I'm so excited for. So Tasha Suri also wrote Realm of Ash and what's the first one called? Empire of Sand, that's it. And I really love both of those. They're quite like kind of desert fantasy, like quite magical. They remind me a lot of City of Brass. And she's really good at writing kind of romance, and this one is a sapphic romance, and I believe it's like between a noblewoman and her handmaiden or something along those lines, and maybe one of them is a spy, and I've heard it's like morally grey women, and it sounds so good. So I'm really excited for that one. We also have Gear Breakers coming out on the 29th of June. Forgot what month we're in. Yeah, this one sounds amazing as well. I believe this one's also sapphic maybe, and like kind of like mechanical type things, and it just sounds really good, and the author is really lovely on Twitter as well, so I'm really excited for that one. I feel like I'm not very good at giving synopses of these books. I should be a better booktuber. Oh well. Okay, and we also have The Chosen the Beautiful by Nagivo coming out on the 1st, which is my birthday. So yeah, and that is I believe a Great Gatsby retelling, which sounds so cool. The cover's really cool. I love Nagivo's other 2 books, well, the Singing Hills books, so The Empress of Salt and Fortune and When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain. So she has such a beautiful writing style. It reminds me a lot of Becky Chambers. It's very kind of lush and like it feels so comforting. So I'm really excited for The Chosen the Beautiful, and it's a full-length novel as well, which is really exciting. So I'm really excited for that one. And then on the 10th we have A Psalm of Storms and Silence, which is the sequel to A Song of Wraiths and Ruin. And this one I'm also really excited for because A Song of Wraiths and Ruin is so cute, and the relationship is so like, it's just the whole like, it's like the perfect kind of YA, like the angsty drama and like the kind of magical politics, and it just all fits so well. So I'm really excited to see where things go in the 2nd book, because the characters are kind of now a bit separate, and like, oh Malik, oh I forgot about the ending, and like Malik's now this like apprentice, this evil dude, and oh it's gonna be so good. So I'm really excited for that one. And then we also have Afterlove, which comes out on the 10th. I'm sorry, I've been a bit back and forth on these dates in June. And this one I don't know much about it, but the cover's really cool, like really pretty colours, and like and also from like the tagline, it sounds a bit like a ghost romance, or like they're going into the underworld type thing, which just that sounds amazing. So I'm really excited for that one. Then July, we also have a lot of exciting books coming out in July. It's just a very exciting year. I feel like 2021 just has so many like exciting releases. So the first one is Wings of Shadow, and this is the 3rd book in the Crown of Feathers series trilogy. And I really love books 1 and 2. They're like, the characters are such cinnamon rolls for this kind of dark fantasy world, and it has phoenixes, and you like the characters like bond to these phoenixes. which is super cute. Yeah, and this is the final book, so I'm really excited for that one. And then also Flashfire, which comes out on the 13th, and this is the sequel to The Extraordinaries by TJ Klune. And I really love The Extraordinaries. It's just such a fun book. You have a massive grin on your face the whole time while reading. It's like a superhero book. It just feels so like cheesy and over the top, but also so like addictive. So I'm really excited for the second book. I think it's going to be so much fun again. Yeah, if you like superheroes. Then we also have A Psalm for the Wild Bill, which comes out on the 13th by Becky Chambers, who, yeah, is one of my favourite authors. I feel like this one is like about a monk and a robot. That's all I really know. And I think it's just going to be quite like a beautiful contemplation on humanity and just everything Becky Chambers excels at. And it'll probably feel like another warm hug. So yeah, I'm really excited for that one. She Who Became the Sun, which is a kind of, I'm not quite sure if it's YA or adult. I feel like it might be adult fantasy release, and I feel like it's kind of a Mulan type retelling, so I've heard. And the cover is beautiful. Both the UK and the like US covers are really stunning. I put in my request for an arc on NetGalley, so hopefully I would love an arc. That would be so amazing. But yeah, it sounds really good. Again, I feel like this video is just getting repetitive at this point. I should really have looked up synopses, but you know, chaos. We also have 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lynn. This is another one which is just on here for the pretty cover. I've heard good things about like Elizabeth Lynn and her books, and well, like Spin the Dawn. I'm really interested in reading that. It sounds, I don't even know what it's about actually, but the cover just sounds cool. So yeah. Then in August we have The Thousand Eyes, which I'm not 100% sure if this is coming out in August, but this is a sequel to The Unspoken Name, which is like one of my favourite books of 2020. I just loved it. It like snuck up on me with how much I loved it. So I'm really excited for the second book. And I feel like the second book might follow a different character called Tassalides, or well, he's one of the main characters in the first book, but he's not like the main character. So now he's gonna get his own book, and oh, he's just the perfect, like, really kind of like insufferable type character who's just so hilarious. It's like grows on you, like a leech. Okay, and then in September, hopefully we have Jade Legacy, which is the 3rd book in the Green Bane saga. So that's exciting because I love that series, and I feel like the ending's just gonna destroy us all. So kind of this Jade City is this like world where Jade is this kind of hot commodity which is like gives people powers, and so there's these 2 main clans that kind of control the jade trade, one of whom is the No Peak clan, and we're kind of following them, the kind of leading family. So we're following Lan, who's like the boss guy, whose name I've forgotten, and then Hilo, who's his younger brother, and he's like the enforcer, and then Shay, who's kind of their estranged sister, who's like coming back to them at the start of Jade City, and then also Andon, who's like the gay cousin. Yeah, so that's kind of the 4 main characters, and just watching them like grow throughout the books and the kind of dynamics with each other and the like overarching politics of the book, and it's just all so good. So yeah, I'm really excited for Jade Legacy. And also Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune, which comes out on the 21st of September, is another one I'm so excited for, because this one is like ghosts. Or like the afterlife or something, and it sounds kind of a bit similar, like in a similar vein to House by the Cerulean Sea, which is also like by him. And that one's just like so wholesome, and I feel like they're kind of exploring some quite like deep topics, or kind of similar to Becky Chambers in a way, but like in a really wholesome way. And I feel like this one's going to kind of explore grief but also be really kind of heartwarming, so I feel like that's going to be a really beautiful book. Then in October we have The Shadow of the Gods by Gwyn, which is a new book, a new series by him, I believe, and I really like Malice. It's like a wholesome, dark fantasy, which sounds counterintuitive, but it's kind of true. So yeah, that's exciting. I don't really know anything about the plot. I read like the synopsis, and I think it's like Norse type mythology, which is really cool. I feel like I want to read more books with like Norse type Scandinavian settings. I've got the Maas to read, which I think is set in Norway, so that should be cool. And then November we have Jade Fire Gold, which is another like YA fantasy, which sounds amazing. Again, I can't really give you a synopsis, but I just, from what I've like heard, it sounds really cool, and just the hype gets to you. Yeah, and also Nowhere, which is the 3rd book in the Skyward series. I don't think that has release date. I think it's just coming out at some point in towards the end of 2021. Yeah, by Brandon Sanderson. So I love the Skyward series, so I'm really excited for the 3rd book. And Ember, oh Ember, I love Ember. So yeah, I'm really excited for all of them, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you if you watched to the end, because this video has got quite long. But yeah, hopefully you found maybe some new books to add to your 2020 wish list. Comment down below with your most anticipated release of 2021. I would love to know. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I hope you're all having a great day, and I will see you next time.